Hey everyone, how are you doing? I hope you'll join me on another drawing adventure in the land of what to draw when you don't know what to draw. Today, we are going to talk about trying a new medium. A few years ago, I was given a box of 16 Faber-Castell colored pencils as a gift because people know I draw, so they give me drawing stuff. That's cool, but often that stuff remains unused because it's not quite what I would have picked up on my own or what I needed at the time. Anyway, I kept the pencils, believing that the time for them will come, and sure enough, it did. I was looking for something new to play with and came across that pencil box. Actually, as a teenager, I used colored pencils almost exclusively and then suddenly stopped. Wonder what happened. I'm sure we all have that one medium we loved as children or teens and then stopped using altogether. Or perhaps a gift you never used. Maybe it's a sketchbook, maybe it's a watercolor set, or a free piece of software you downloaded and then forgot to use. Today, I challenge you to dust that thing off, whatever it is, and give it a go. I decided to double the experience by drawing something I've been putting off for a while. And for me, it's a girl riding a bike. Nothing too exciting about the girl, but putting her on a bike, it's a bit tricky for me. I like drawing bikes, but people on bikes are a bit challenging because there's so many elements that need to be coordinated while keeping everything proportionate. I've had some practice with the easier for me side view, but the front view is what I consider the trickiest because of all that foreshortening. As you could see, I've prepared the sketch in advance as not to make this video overly long and to lessen the pressure a little bit. I didn't make any plan up front as to what colors I was gonna use, which isn't a great strategy. Well, it's not really a strategy at all. I guess I just went with the flow since I had a pretty good mental picture of how I wanted her to look and don't have that many colors to choose from anyway. A little bit about those pencils and my experience with them. It wasn't too amazing, I must say. The pencils are pretty thick and that makes them comfortable to hold, but the tips are a bit thick as well, and that sometimes make them feel a bit clunky, which isn't great for details. To be fair, I didn't sharpen all of them, and the ones I did sharpen I wasn't very thorough with. In any case, it worked out fine, but I think they might do a better job on a larger scale sketch or something with less details. I also believe these pencils came from the children's section. I'm pretty sure they are not artist grade and are not meant for professional work. Not that this is professional work by any means. The color selection is pretty limited and not too amazing. The wet pencil is kind of a waste of space. I tried it even on toned paper and it doesn't seem to do much. The lead is also pretty hard. I've never tried artist grade colored pencils, but I imagine they're somewhat softer, so they would probably blend better. These pencils are also water soluble. I've tested them on another drawing and wasn't too impressed. So today we're keeping it purely pencil. I feel that the blending worked better in pencil mode and pretty much only muddied the color when I used water. So yeah. At some point I realized that my pencil on their sketch was starting to smudge a bit, and a few times I laid the wrong color in the wrong place. And since it was my plan to outline everything in pen at the end, I decided to jump ahead a little bit and outline early, so that I don't have to think too hard what exactly am I coloring. After the sketch is outlined in pen, it's basically sit back and relax for your brain. It's like a coloring book. I also just really like the look of pen outlines. That's probably a bit lazy of me. Oh well. Something I've noticed after outlining is that I really didn't like her face. How did it take me so long to see that? I have no idea. I guess I was more concentrated on the pose and a bit overconfident on the face. I think what happened is that I placed the nose too low, which makes her whole face look too long. I'm also not too fond of the eyes. I tend to vary how I draw eyes depending on what look I want to get, and don't really have a go-to eyes look at the moment, which makes things a bit messy. Oh well. next one will be better. Most people's faces aren't perfect anyways. Maybe we should also talk a little bit about blending. First of all, I'm not a huge blending expert, especially in colored pencils, which, as you now know, are a semi-new area to me. Well, I think it's safe to say it's a new area. Back when I had my colored pencils period, I still pretty much went with the flow. I didn't have any actual knowledge of what to do, haven't taken any classes, it was mostly playing around. The internet wasn't a thing, not where I lived anyway. I think it did exist at that point, it was just very young. Yeah, I'm old. So there wasn't any online tutorials to follow. Okay, what were we talking about again? Oh yeah, blending. So in my set there are 16 pencils, which in terms of color variety is very limited. For example, in this illustration we have some leaves, grass and flowers. But I only have 2 green colors, a light and dark, and turquoise. I guess counts green. So I had to get creative and mix. I'm not complaining about the lack of colors, by the way. I really love limited color palettes. In fact, I'm probably using more colors here than I normally would, so I don't want to sound like I'm some big-time hero for making it work with fewer colors. But what I'm trying to say, and keep failing and going off on tangents, is don't feel limited by your supplies. If you only have a small kit set of pencils, watercolors or whatever, you still have something to work off of. Yes, there's only 2 greens, but in reality things are rarely just one color. You can use blue and yellow to layer over your greens to achieve a new color. Adding yellow will make a leaf look more new, fresh, and will give your illustration a spring feel. Using blue will make a leaf more mature, more shadowy. Orange and brown will give you that burnt autumn look. And if you observe real leaves, you'll discover all kinds of unexpected colors in them, like pink and purple, and so on. Speaking of purple, I'm adding light purple, well, more like pink I guess, to the shadowy areas. That will make the illustration feel warmer, as if the sun is shining. This is something I learned at a watercolor class I took, and it's one of the best color advice I've ever had. Before, I always made my shadows blue or grey, or just a darker shade of the main color. But if you want to add an extra dimension to your work, use purple. For highlights, I'm using yellow and light orange to give off even more the feeling of sunshine. It's a spring illustration after all. I also try to vary the color of each leaf so they don't seem just as uniform green mass, but more as individual parts of a whole. That also helps the illustration look more layered and adds depth. Okay, we are almost done. I just wanted to add a little something about how I chose to edit this video. You'll notice that instead of speeding up the process and showing you a time lapse, I've cut out small bits and pieces that I left at normal speed, because I felt it might be good to get a better feel of my actual speed of work. I also find that I personally enjoy the real life speed more, because it gives me a more clear idea of what the artist is actually doing and, to some degree, a glimpse in their thought process. However, most videos online are time lapses, and maybe that's what most people prefer to see. I understand that the real life speed might get tedious at times. I just noticed that if I watch a time lapse, I tend to space out and not really follow at all. I just get bored. I don't want to watch a 2-3 hours of live speed either. So in this video I'm trying a bit of a in-between approach. Please let me know what you think about that and what is your preferred speed to watch somebody draw. I'd really appreciate the input. Also, do you watch people draw at all, or do you prefer just seeing the finished results? I'd like to go back to a schedule where I post video every week, so that's why I want to know. Did you like today's idea of what to draw when you don't know what to draw? Do you have old forgotten supplies you'd like to give another chance? If you do, tag me so I can see what you've created. I'm on Instagram as @forindet, just like here, and I'd love to see what you make. Hope you got a little bit of inspiration from this video. Like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you soon in my next one. Until then, have fun!